Hello and good morning, Kinaway members. Welcome to yet another one of our Indigenous Business Month webinars. And thank you for joining us. Before we'd like to begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which I am coming to you all from. And I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which each and every one of us are tuning in from this morning, and pay respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Quickly, before we get the show on the road, I would just like to remind you all to keep a close eye on our socials and on your inboxes, because we have a lot of stuff coming up still for Indigenous Business Month, and also the Kinaway Business Awards. So make sure you get to nominating. We'll be pushing out some more stuff so that you guys can get some quick, easy links to go and nominate. So, and don't be shame or shy to nominate yourselves too. Awesome. So also please feel free to share these posts and webinars with your friends and family, because, we're always looking to grow the Kinaway community even more than we already have. So now that I have all of that out of the way, let's give a warm welcome to all of our deadly guests this morning. We've got Naomi Pryor, and she's the Women's Business Sector Development Manager. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Naomi, in a second. We've also got Tahnee from Gammin Threads, and Maddison as well from Yarli Creative. Again, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong in a second. But yeah, so let's give it up for our guests. Woo! Excellent. So now that I've got that out of the way, I am going to pass the mic over to Naomi to give a little bit more of an introduction and a welcome into today's webinar.
Thanks, Tahnee. So as part of Indigenous Business Month, we thought we'll host a little webinar focusing on some of our female-led business members, and focus a bit on what marketing strategies they're using to promote their businesses. So thank you very much to Tahnee and Maddison for agreeing to be part of this webinar, and really looking forward to hearing about what you've been doing with your business and how you've been marketing that over the last, however long your business has been operating. So what I'd like to hear is a bit more about our business owners and a bit about your business and why you firstly got into business. So Tahnee, I might start with you. Tell us a bit more about Gammin Threads.
Okay, hi, I'm Tahnee Edwards. I'm a Yorta and Tamarong woman. And how I got into business it's a bit of a long story, but I think it's important. So I studied graphic design, and then I moved to Melbourne. I studied fashion merchandising, and I ended up working for a brand in fashion as a design assistant, and I hated it. And then my resume, I passed it around to some people, and it ended up on the desk of JIRA, which is an Aboriginal family violence org. And so I started working there, and I'm still there today. That's like my part-time job, and I do Gammin on the side. And yeah, I was going through a creative block. Like, it was just meant to be a job between jobs because I wanted to get back into fashion. But like, my mum passed away, and I was grieving, and I was just in a real bad creative block. And then, yeah, it was just like a couple of years in, and it was a mixture of the NAIDOC theme, Because of Her We Can, and then the work I was doing in JIRA with Aboriginal women, that was just like finally healing. And I just wanted to create these designs that showed like my love and admiration for like women in our communities. And so that's when I come up with the design, respect Black women and respect the Black matriarchy. And so I didn't know at the time that like that was going to be like Gammin Threads. I just sort of come up with these designs for NAIDOC, and I had to make a website to sell them. And so I needed a business name, and I didn't want to use my own. So I come up with Gammin because it's like my favorite Blackfella word. And that was kind of like the start of, yeah, Gammin Threads. So yeah, it's still my side hustle. Like, I'm down to sort of 3 or 4 days a week at JIRA, which I love. Like, I love that work. And, you know, having a small business by yourself, it can be quite isolating. So I love still being connected to women and community that way. But yeah, that's how I got into doing business.
That's great. Thanks, Tahnee. Maddison, tell us a bit about your business and why you started Yarli Creative.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm Maddie. I'm a Yorta, Jajarung and Gamilaroi woman. I grew up on Kanigupna, which means shepherded in Yorta language. And I moved to Melbourne about 10 years ago. First, when I moved down, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I started working in retail when we first moved here into Melbourne. But then I went to uni and I did a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Health Science. And I'd always been an artist in the background, always loved creating, painting. But my mum said to me, make sure you have a backup plan. So that was my public health degree. So she's like, you're not always going to make it as an artist. So make sure you have a backup plan. But my second love was health, and Aboriginal health in particular. So I worked in community health for about 5 years while I was studying, and then I finished up there, and I ended up going into government for a little bit, and I found it really challenging being an Aboriginal woman in government. You're always brought with red tape, so that was really challenging as well. And then I've got 2 kids, a 5-year-old named Marley and a almost 2-year-old named Yindi. And when Yindi was 4 months old, we went into the pandemic, and for about 3 years prior to that, my partner was like, why don't you start a business? You're really, passionate about it. Why don't you start a business? And I was always really scared. I was scared of what people were going to think of me. I had really bad anxiety. And I always feared failing and people, not liking what I created or not liking me or anything that I produced and put out there. So I was really scared actually to even think about starting a business. So the business had been on my mind for a very long time before I even leapt and started. But it wasn't until, we went into that pandemic, my daughter being 4 months old, and the anxiety, postnatal anxiety that I developed from the pandemic and also other environmental factors, it really just, it took over me. And even driving in the car, a car would drive past me and I would shudder. So I went and got some help, and I now take antidepressants, which is really, for me, that's helped. And I see, a psychologist. But where I'm getting at is that all sort of helped me to clear my brain and clear, my thought processes around being scared and being worried and of everyone else's thoughts about me. So that really opened up my creative brain. And so then we started and we launched Yarli last year in March. I think it was March. And since then, I've had a really huge increase in following and people following the brand, which has been just amazing. And I still can't believe it to this day. But Yarli is actually Yindi and Marley put together. So my kids make Yarli, and they are everything. They've given me life. They're just my everything. So that's kind of my little background in a nutshell.
Thanks for sharing, Maddie. So I've got some questions to ask you guys. First question, your target audience, your target customers, and how do you reach them? So when you started, who were you targeting to your products at?
Should I go first? Sorry.
Yeah, okay, yep.
I was on mute. Well, I feel like I've got 2 target sort of customers. Obviously mob, and then sort of the woke allies who want to support Indigenous business. So it took me a while to I was using Gammin as just a creative outlet for a good sort of 18 months or 2 years. And then it was only since Black Lives Matter that I think a lot of Indigenous businesses got a lot more exposure and followers and sales. So I've been trying to be a bit more business minded and strategic. I think my customers are I'm an online brand, I have an online store. And so a lot of my customers and my target market are online, being on socials like Instagram and Facebook mainly. And it took me a while to get on Facebook, but House of Dizzy was like, nah, there's mobs on Facebook. You're going to be, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm going to mute. My dog's
I'm half expecting someone to come to my door too, so don't stress. We'll let Tahnee go and deal with Mr. or Mrs. Doorbell ringer. It always happens, you guys. Whenever you try to go live, anything and everything usually happens in the background. Oh, good. Tahnee's back, sweet. I'll let you keep going, Queen.
Oh my God, it was the doorbell. He's still going. So yeah, a lot of my customers are online, so that's where I market it all. And I think just the way the world is now, especially pandemic, like we are buying online. So yeah, I've forgotten the question, but yeah, all my designs, like I aim them at like mob, because it's like it's by us for us. Like I want to empower our people, especially women, with my designs. And I'm very much like I'm not an educator. Like my designs are like, if you know, you're part of a club. So I feel like allies who know community or work in the space, they kind of get it. And yeah, I'm a bit flustered. Sorry, I'll pass over to Maddison.
That's all right.
This
So
is a
you've touched-
safe, no stress space, you guys.
So Tahnee, you touched on social media. What's been the best social media platform for you in the business to get to connect with the audience?
Was that to me? Sorry.
Yep.
I think I get better traction on Instagram. I think because like a lot of my stuff is like I was just saying, like I do have quite a curated feed because I'm a visual person and like I hate using my words. Like I don't want that to sound doofy, but like I'd much rather get my story across with graphics and photos, and that's how I tell my story or get my brand story across. So Instagram works well for me that way, but there are like there's so many mob on Facebook. Like just finding, like different demographics. You could be finding like kind of a little bit older aunties or just other people there. But I can see my sales on Shopify and they all do come from Instagram, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. So maintaining websites, Tahnee, how often would you spend on updating your website? Or do you have somebody to do that for you?
No, I do it all myself. Like I do, like I'm pretty savvy with websites or just online stuff because I was a graphic designer. So I'm pretty happy with the layout right now, and I'll only really update it if I get some new photos in, and then if I get more products, and it's just so simple to update, and I might move some stuff around. But yeah, there's definitely, I know I've had some help from a fella called Adam from Empower Digital. He's a black fella, and he helps. If I get anything real kind of techie, he'll help me out, which is good, because it's so important that your website, like so many of my shoppers buy from their mobile, like their phone. So you need to make sure that your website looks good on a phone. And slowly, quickly, I'm going to mute.
Leroy wants the attention. He doesn't like it.
Leroy's saying, no, Mum, you've got it all wrong. Maybe while we let Leroy have a chat with his mum, I was just thinking, like, I'm really curious too, like Maddie, about your like demographic too, because I'll mention something after you guys have had a chat. But yeah, I'm really interested. What about your target audience and maybe best performing social media? I'm curious.
See, I think I share a lot about my personal journeys and my personal experience. So I feel like, when I look at the insights in my Instagram, there's 95% women. So I know that like a lot of the stuff that I talk about, especially when I started, it was a lot about pregnancy and birth. I had a lot of women follow me, but I also had a lot of people who are like Tahnee, woke allies and people that really want to learn as well. And I've noticed I have a lot of teachers as well when I do some of the educational stuff that I talk about in cultural awareness. Like, so as I was saying to these mob before, that I did some cultural awareness with Walk the Talk, and also when I worked in the department. So I guess, I don't really know my target audience that well, but I know that they're a lot of women. I do have a lot of other Aboriginal businesses who I've connected with as well, which has been really cool. My main platform I use a lot is Instagram. I love Instagram. It's so much fun. I do like reels, and I'm very comfortable in front of the camera and having fun and being like mocking myself and being gammon. Yeah, like I have both mob, I've got allies, I've got, you know, just all different people and all walks of life, which I think has been really nice. And they've all connected to either some of the captions I write a lot of captions, so I really enjoy writing as a creative outlet as well. So that's been really good. So, you know, through storytelling, yarning, I talk to all my followers too, who they send me messages, even though I get lots of messages. Sometimes it takes me a little bit of time, but, you know, I really like those connections that I create. And yeah, Facebook just is in the background for me. You know, everything that I post on Instagram goes over to Facebook. I use Shopify too, like Tahnee. It's so easy. Like, I'm really not, I was so petrified of creating a website. I was like, what do I do? But the website with Shopify has been super easy to maintain and manage. Adam helped me set up my website too from Empowered Digital. And then I've also had Nova from Milk Crate. She's a Torres Strait Islander woman. She's Aboriginal as well, and she's helped me to navigate and you know, update certain things as well. So that's been really good. Like, I've tried to seek other Black businesses to help me with those sort of things too. But yeah, I don't know. Did I answer the question, or am I running around circles?
Yeah, you guys are smashing it. Yeah. I'm like probably the biggest listener and learner today. So I'm really enjoying everything you guys are sharing with us. I'll stop steamrolling the convo because I love this topic. But Naomi, I'll let you keep going with the questions, and I'll gammon pop in and say little bits and pieces about Kinaway's marketing as we go along.
So Maddison, with your platforms that you use, how long a week, duration a week would you spend on updating all your platforms?
Well, at the moment, I am still on maternity leave, so I've got lots of time up my sleeve. I do a lot of like with Shopify, similar to Tahnee. I only update it when I really have like new products, or I want to move some stuff around or whatever. So there's not as much time put into Shopify, which, you know, I probably should put a little bit more, but it seems to be going okay. I am going to do like a bit of maintenance in the next couple of weeks to transform it a little bit, but otherwise I don't put as much time. You know, you obviously use Shopify to fulfill all your orders, so spending that time on there is crucial, because obviously you need to get your orders out. I love that Shopify connects to your phone, so like you've got the app on your phone, and when you actually fulfill an order, and if you use you know, the Australian Post bags, you can scan it with the QR code, so then it automatically updates that you've fulfilled your order, and it sends that email to your customer. So I really love like that element of, you know, Shopify. But in terms of like my social media has been probably like the majority of my hours, other than creating and creating art. So like I spend some time creating reels. I do plan my my Instagram, so I plan the content that I'm going to run with for the week. I even plan my reels, so I do like bulk reels where you make like, you know, 2 or 3 reels in one, and then you can like use those across the week, so you don't have to post them straight away. Save them in my drafts and then post them during the week, so that gets that, you know, traction, because I find that reels gets lots of views. One of my reels got 79,000 people watching it. So, you know, like it's, you know, trying to think of different ways to save your time, but also use your skills across the board.
Fantastic. Thank you. We were speaking before about TikTok and how that's a platform that's really, really popular these days. So is that a platform that you're using, or you're thinking about it, or you're just not going to go there?
Yeah, I use TikTok.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
I probably use it more for fun. I do have a couple of branded stuff on there, like, you know, promoting some products and stuff. But yeah, I think it's more about brand awareness. So I am under Yarli Creative, and I do funny like lip syncing videos and stuff like that. But it brings people over to Instagram, and I sort of, you know, have fun on TikTok, not so much try and sell products, but I have fun, and then try and bring people over to follow me on Instagram, which is where I do all the other stuff, you know.
I'll just chirp in on TikTok because, like, I made an account, but I don't use it properly. But I did, like, before Black Lives Matter happened, one day I was just getting all these orders in. I was like, where are these coming from? Like, I haven't posted anything on Instagram. Like, nobody's tagged me in anything. It must be somebody big. It must be a celebrity. I could not work it out. Like, I literally did a month's worth of sales in a weekend. And it wasn't until this woman DM'd me like, oh, I saw one of your t-shirts on TikTok, blah, blah, blah. And then like I tried to search Gammin Threads on TikTok, and this sis like just showed a video of like what she ordered. And that's where like all my sales come from. I mean, you go on TikTok and you see these black fella creators and they're smashing it. Like that's where a lot, like if you don't want to create TikToks yourself, you should be sending your products to these creators because they're just, it's like some of them have like 100,000 followers and they're just, like it's amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to pass that in. I know like what stuff that I should do, but like whether I get around to doing it or not, like, yeah, that's another thing.
It's good to put two different perspectives on TikTok because I know like we were talking about making a Kinaway TikTok and I was like, oh, I don't know, just because of all of the compilations I've seen, they've all been kind of funny and like comedy. And I was like, oh, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I think that both of your answers, you know, it shows the two sides of the coin where, you know, you can either participate and you can kind of create this nice sort of, you know, way for your community to get to know you and, you know, the things that you believe in or your humor even. But also too, like, yeah, I think sending products to those creators is such a cool idea because you're helping them as well. And I'm speaking because I've got a friend that's one of those deadly black creators on there just going so well. And yeah, there's a really big community of like black mob on there doing really well and supporting each other. Of course, they had to break through the barrier of like negative comments, but at the moment it's like a really positive space. So yeah, I think guys watching, take either bits of advice and see if it can be used in your business because, you know, yeah, it's going well on there. Also too, I wanted to ask Maddie, do you see analytics on TikTok and can you like kind of see an age group on there at all?
I haven't even looked at the analytics on TikTok, to be honest. I just mainly get on there and be an idiot and just like make fun of myself. And then like, you know, follow things when you're feeling like, I don't know, you're just like feeling down or bored. I just scroll TikTok. But yeah, I haven't actually looked, but I should. Definitely.
Yeah, I should probably look too. Actually, I'm sitting here asking questions, not researching. But yeah, I only mention it because, you know, you sort of imagine it to be a younger audience. But, you know, in the couple of months that I've been using it, there's actually a lot of adults on there and a lot of older folk, and you'd be pretty surprised. So, you know, don't feel scared off by what TikTok seems like initially. Like jump on there and have a look, especially go to that community, that black community on there at the moment.
Well, it started off as Musically. Did you guys?
Oh yes, TikTok? I was on Musically.
Yeah, I am my little sister. My little sister's 15, and she used to do these Musically things, and I was like, "What are you doing?" But she used to have fun with it, and now it's turned into TikTok, and she cringes at me now.
Musically was such a different time. I remember we would just lip sync little bits and pieces and my family would send videos back and forth. But now it's a massive empire on there. Very globalized too.
Oh, sorry. I love the algorithm on TikTok. Like it just, you know, you have like, I started liking a couple of dog videos and then it's all dogs on my feed. But like I get a lot of like small business stuff and marketing sort of stuff because that's obviously what I'm into. And what I love about TikTok is that the stuff that does well, it's not that polished, curated stuff from Instagram. It is that like raw, like unedited, behind the scenes, and that's what people love, especially wanting to learn about businesses. Like you're doing yourself a disservice by not being on TikTok and showing the behind the scenes, because that's what people love and want to see. And we know that, like, you know, consumers have changed. Like, we're so much more fussy with where we're spending our money. We want to be spending it on brands that have a story or that align with your values. And like the best way of doing that is to be, you know, showing more about like yourself, where you come from, and, you know, the little in between bits that aren't on those like polished Instagrams. So yeah, I just wanted to chirp in with that, because yeah, you'll see someone doing a packing an order and it would be like 400,000 likes. It's crazy. So yeah, don't be afraid to do that. I'm afraid to do it. I need to get over myself. I need to do it. But I'm just saying, if anybody else out there, like, that's one of my big recommendations.
Yeah,
that's
such
good advice.
That's such good advice, Tahnee, because, you know, I've done like painting ones where you just like follow the paintbrush, and I've had so many people like, oh, that's so soothing, I could watch that all day. And I'm over here going, really? Like, I'm just painting on a piece of canvas. But people actually really like it, and it's soothing. I've seen even like TikToks where they, you know, make sounds and stuff for people with, you know, like to relax. And, you know, there's so many different things that you could do to bring brand awareness, or, you know, get people to come over to your Instagram or your shop or whatever. And then I jump onto Twitter occasionally as well, and, you know, see what's going on there, which Twitter's been really good for the stuff like with my advocacy stuff, or the, you know, the more political stuff. So I find Twitter's a bit more political. Instagram, as you said, is a bit more polished. Twitter's just like fun and unedited, and yeah, I love that.
Yeah, there's a really big Black community on Twitter as well, everybody. So if you're interested in that, go immerse yourself in there. A good place to start, Indigenous X. That's an old friend of mine, but that's a really good place to start to find some mob and, like, you know, get stuck into the community. Naomi, I've got a little quick, just off the cuff question, if that's okay. And we don't have to spend too long, because I know you've got some deadly questions coming up. But we have a question from Liz, and I think it's really good to talk about now while we're in this discussion. But when it comes to negative content online, comments online and across social media and stuff, do you guys have any maybe advice, or just, you know, maybe a story about how you've maybe handled that? Because I know when it comes to the community, like, we can get some really harsh and like real negative stuff online. And, you know, I can imagine it can deter some business owners, and just because we're all people at the end of the day. So I was just wondering if, yeah, you guys have anything to share or advice around negative comments from people. Maybe we'll start with Maddie, because she's not muted at the moment.
Oh, this is a hard one. You know, I've had both trolls and, you know, some lateral violence as well. But I think it's really hard, because it really affects you. Because my brand is me, and my brand is who I am. It's me. It's a persona. Not a persona. It's actually who I am. So yeah, it has been challenging. And because I think I grew really quickly, it made it even more challenging, because I didn't feel like I had that time to catch up on these sort of things. But usually, like, I address it, and I either address it with the person, or if it's a non-Aboriginal person, I will just block them, because we don't need that negative energy in our spaces. You know, we've got enough on our plates trying to deal with racism and other things that, you know, we constantly have to be up against. And I don't know, I do play in that space too, though, like, not me giving negative, but I do bring awareness to things that aren't right. So like cultural appropriation is really big on my agenda. So like calling out people who are creating artwork that are non-Aboriginal, and, you know, really educating my followers about why it's so important not to, and also to call others out. I've found that my followers now, they help with that, and they help jump on board to stop those, you know, from continuing, because it's taking away resources from us Aboriginal people and our businesses and our livelihood, but also our culture and our history. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but I kind of either take it head on, give it to my followers, or I block them.
No, that was a perfect answer. I mean, it's always good to know just how others sort of handle it. Sometimes it can be a bit confronting, but, you know, it's nice to hear, you know, what other mob kind of do when they're confronted with that sort of stuff. Tahnee, do you have any advice or a situation that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I haven't had like trolling or those kind of negative comments because like I was saying, I don't get into that sort of space. Like my content is I guess a bit more positive. I don't know. Like I'm lucky that I haven't had it, but I have had mob just not like a couple of my designs, and it is hard because like the last thing I want to do is upset mob and what's like okay with me and my community, and like, you know, Vic mob down here isn't okay with others. And so that's something that I learned last year, and it really upset me because I used the word Aborigine on a t-shirt, and like some people really didn't like that. So I think I had a bit of a meltdown and I didn't know what to do, but I just talked with, you know, like my people around me and just was like, well, I'm not going to please everybody. And I just had a bit of an artist statement on my website, just being like, this is a kitsch satire piece. Like, I don't mean to cause offense. So that was the space that's what happened to me. So I'm just like, I think I'm more aware of like the stuff that I put out there. Like, I think if it was on a gallery wall, or I don't know, if it was seen in different contexts, it might be okay. But because you're making it on a t-shirt, making it commercial, like it can rub people up the wrong way. So yeah, that's their own. But like Maddie said, like your followers, they're quick to jump on and support you, and they'll tear down people like quicker than what you would. So yeah, we're lucky in that space.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing. Oh, sorry, you go.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because I remember last year, Tahnee, did you have someone copy your stuff as well? Was that you overseas? And then your followers jumped on, didn't they?
But I think that's also like the fashion space. Like I was saying before, like when I worked as a design assistant, we would just like rip off other brands all the time. I think that's just fashion. And like the design I had was like the word darling, and like that's anyone's word. It's not like ours. So I have had a lot of my bestsellers. They've turned up on a lot of websites in America, like just those print on demand kind of websites. But in my mind, I'm like, that's my customer isn't buying off those sites. Like my customer wants to like support an Aboriginal business in Australia. Like my stuff is good quality. So yeah, if people want to buy off those cheap rip-off sites, like that's their decision, but that's just like not my customer. So there's not a lot you can do. Like they're overseas. I could try and send a cease and desist. I don't know what the hell I'd be doing. So I try not to worry about it too much. It's just the nature of the industry, I think.
You know, that's all really good advice for people who, you know, especially people who are thinking about sort of having more of a hands-on approach to their marketing, like, or just in social media in general. It's so good to hear both sides of like what you guys were talking about, whether it's, you know, non-Indigenous people or, you know, Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander mob on there. Like, you know, again, the internet is just a very big, you know, it's like the real world, but with no filter. So you know, it's interesting the sorts of things you might come up against, but you've always got support systems there online. And a cheeky plug for Kinaway, but 1-800-Kinaway is also another good support system. But excellent. Thank you guys for sharing, because that's a bit of a full-on topic, but I think it's a really good one to talk about when we're talking about social media and being on there with the marketing. So cool. We've got another deadly question. It's a little bit more strategic, but I was just wondering, so how have you guys approached the marketing of your business, And what did your strategy look like? Now, you don't have to give away your secrets, but did you sort of come at it from, you just jumped on there and saw how it turned out and sort of navigated from there? Or did you come into it with a bit of a plan first? What were your experiences? Maddie, I'll start with you. You're always unmuted, so I go for you first.
I need to mute myself. No, I don't know. Like, I came into it not having any idea at all, honestly. And that is just raw and real. Like, I just jumped on and wanted to try and create something that was my own. So I think with marketing, I've just been authentic, sharing stories, being myself, sharing, where I'm from, my community, my kids, my mental health, like challenges that I've faced, and sharing trauma and birthing experience. So I think, my marketing is around, being me. But I have used things like, the paid ads with Instagram and Facebook, which has helped, but I was disabled in January, which is annoying. And, you can't contact Instagram to get help. So I've had to try and figure out other ways. So yeah, I haven't been doing any paid marketing since Jan. And I've just dabbled in like Pinterest. So you can do some paid marketing on Pinterest as well, because mine's, really art-based, putting it into like interior design stuff. There's also paid marketing ads on TikTok now, and that's all integrated with Shopify. So it's really good, from the back end of Shopify, you can, organize all that stuff. But yeah, that's kind of, I don't really have, I'm doing my marketing strategy backwards, I think. I don't know. I haven't got anything in marketing.
It's just an alternate way. You're going to the same destination, just different path.
Yeah.
So what about you, Tahnee? How was your experience with coming at your marketing? Was it with a strategy, or was it with just seeing how it all turned out in the end?
Yeah, I think I never had a business plan. I still don't have a business plan. I didn't have like a marketing strategy, but because I studied fashion merchandising at uni, I did marketing there, and I had a good understanding of it all. And so I quickly looked at like one of my assignments from last year, because I'm like, what is marketing again? And I think it's kind of just happened naturally, like as I was working out how to run a business. So it's things like your distribution. So like I am an online store, and that's working really well because we are in a pandemic. Everybody's buying stuff online. But thinking about where I want my merch to, like what stores, I would love to get into wholesale, but I'm also very picky with like where it goes to, because I had like a big retailer hit me up and want to do an order, and I just, like, as one person, I was not able to fulfill that. I would have had to outlay so much money to get stuff made, and then just like the actual logistics to get it there, it would have been a nightmare. So I just wasn't ready. But then when I was thinking about it, I'm like, you know what, I don't really care that my stuff isn't on their shop. And then just thinking about like your technology and then social cultural trends. Like again, like after Black Lives Matter, there's like even just, I think in general, like lots of people, it's a good time to be an Aboriginal business. There's so much support out there for us. And technology, like, yeah, it's so easy to have an online store now. Like I couldn't have done Gammin like 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, like now's a good time. And then just naturally, like I'm always sort of thinking of like my strengths and my weaknesses, the opportunities. Like I'm always doing sort of like research with what other brands are doing. And I mean, like, I don't want to say competitors, because, like as Aboriginal businesses, or like just First Nations, like we are like, a collective society, like, my success is your success. We're all here, like community over competition. Like all the Aboriginal businesses I know, we all lift each other up, and we're all in kind of you know, there's heaps of mob doing designs, apparel, but I feel like we're all sort of in our different lanes and it works really well. But I still I'm always looking at what other brands are doing just for like your position in the market. Like my stuff is a little bit more expensive compared to others, but that's just where like I've positioned myself. Like I put a lot of effort into my branding and my designs. Like if you get a Gammin package, it's like it's wrapped up in tissue paper. I throw in stickers, like you get a discount. Like it's the whole experience, which is something, one of my brand values and something that I look for as a consumer as well. Like I want to, it's like, oh, I got a present. Like I know I paid for it, but oh, it's like that makes me feel special. And so that's really important to me. So yeah, I think like I've just naturally, it's not like I've come up with a strategy, but I do, yeah, I'm very conscious of it because I think just naturally that's what I'm into. Like I love branding and I love, yeah, just like that whole experience, I think.
Yeah, that's so excellent. Yeah, you know, and this is really good for, I think, you know, the Kinaway community to hear because, you know, marketing your business isn't a scary thing. Like you guys can see from, you know, Tahnee and Maddie, they just sort of jumped in and this went with their gut and that works for them. So don't feel afraid to do that for yourself. You know, even with me and Kinaway, you know, I had a marketing strategy and a marketing plan, and we created it. And I think there's the strength for doing that is if you've got a little bit of a bigger business and you want to share what that vision is with the others, that's where that plan comes in handy really well. And of course, you know, we've got some members who are, you know, that's their expertise is in marketing. I'm sure that they would jump on and probably mention that sort of stuff too. So when it comes to marketing, I don't think you can really go wrong. And that's the really good thing with social media is we're all given sort of a level platform and then it's what we do with it from there. So, you know, yeah, just jump in. And if you feel like you'd like that kind of documentation behind it, do it because there's nothing negative about any of it, really. Beautiful. Awesome. I'm getting so much from this conversation. I hope everybody else is too. Awesome. Cool. So now we're going to get on to some fun questions. Naomi, I'm going to let you take it away. You've been a little bit quiet over there in your corner.
I've just been listening. It's been great. I suppose I just want to get an idea of media coverage. So I know, Maddie, I was really excited when I Googled you yesterday. I saw some of your designs in the box shop. So I'd be interested to hear how that came about.
Going to unmute myself now. Yeah, no, the blog shop, they just approached me via email and asked if I wanted to be a part of the blog shop. So that was really cool. I still don't know. I think they found me on Instagram as well, just through sharing and whatnot. But yeah, the media coverage stuff has been interesting because I guess when I launched Yarli Creative, it was just before the Black Lives Matter stuff, and I brought out a Power of Solidarity jumper that really took off, and I you know, donated some of the funds from that to Change the Record, which is a great organization, and they like help. My words are gone, but look them up. Change the Record. They're a Black organization and affiliation of different mob working within the justice space. But I've been approached by people like Broadsheet, which was really cool because I've just started another brand called Fierce Titter Club. It's in regards to period poverty, so something that I'm really passionate about, as I myself have endometriosis and I've been within, you know, the hospital space for my endo, and just recognizing that not everyone has the ability or the resources for their own menstruation. And I think it's something, I know this is out of the conversation, but I just think it's a really important conversation. So that has been in the media. I've done some stuff with like Shep News, so back in my hometown. And then like other things like Pedestrian, they just reach out, and you know, if I'm talking about certain things on Instagram, people have jumped on board. So like with a few months ago, there was a competition with Burleigh, so the bras Burleigh, and the winners of that one was a non-Aboriginal person, and their design had Aboriginal symbolism within it. So they won, non-Aboriginal, and I put out, some stuff that was just saying this is not right. These things shouldn't be happening. And again, it goes to my cultural appropriation conversation I was talking about before. So, some of the media's jumped on that and wanted to, understand why that wasn't okay, and they ended up pulling that design, which was great. And it gives an understanding to the mainstream about why they can't do that. So I guess some of the conversations that I've had on Instagram have traveled to people, and then they've reached out via email. So that's I guess how my marketing and my media coverage has come about, is very authentic and organic with the conversations that I've been having. I haven't reached out to anyone. They've all sort of come organically.
Great. Thanks for sharing. Tahnee, I've noticed Gammin Threads has been in quite a few articles in the fashion industry. When I've been Googling Gammin Threads over the last week or so. How did those stories come about?
A lot of them, they just make them, they just do it themselves, which is good, because I really don't like doing interviews. I get nervous, I get tongue-tied, like I just get scared I'm not going to articulate myself, especially when it's a non-Indigenous like podcast or publication. I get real funny with that. But the same as Maddison, people just email me and I'll just go with my gut if I feel like okay talking to them or not. But there's a real deadly I don't know what you would call it. I think it's called link bee, and you can put up a brief, or if you're going to be releasing something really cool or doing something good, you sort of put in the brief and you say what it is, and then they have access to all these publications, like online ones like Broadsheet and Pedestrian, but then like magazines as well. And that's just a way for different journalists to find you like something deadly you're going to be doing. So it's kind of like, it's been on the back of my mind, like I would like to do something like that, but I just haven't felt like I've done anything important enough to do it. So maybe if I create like an actual range, or maybe like do a pop-up shop or something, but that's like a good resource I found.
I'm definitely going to slide in. Sorry, you go.
Yeah. I'm 99% sure it's called Link Bee.
Yep.
B.
Oh, don't worry, my ears pricked up too.
Yeah.
I was about to say I'm going to slide into the DMs and ask for that link.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
Google that.
I might put it. Yeah, I'll try and chuck it in the description, because if it's as resources, some of the resources we've discussed, I'll put in the description after we've finished our talk. Shopify, everything that we've mentioned, I'll chuck it in the description. But yeah, I'm jumping onto that, Tahnee, for sure.
So last question from me, any tips or tricks for our members watching today, whether it's a new business or a business that's been around for a few years and just wants to go down another path of marketing? Anything that hasn't worked, that just your advice would be don't go there, don't touch it, or something else to
I'll
give a
go
try?
because I'm not muted. I think definitely definitely agree with Maddison about being your authentic self. Like, again, people, they want to buy from, brands or people that they know they believe in, or their values align with them. So being authentic is so important. And I'm just like, for me, my branding, I think branding is just super important, like just having that consistency. And it's so much more than just your logo. It's, your tone of voice when you're talking to people, the language you use, it's the colors, it's just being consistent on all your different platforms so that, your visual identity can help tell your story and get like your message across. So if you can try and invest in that, and I mean, there's apps like Canva, which really help with your visual sort of stuff. But yeah, I think like strong branding is super important. And yeah, trusting your gut like as well, because I feel like we're pretty switched on, but you can get taken advantage of, or people just want to hop on and yeah, just trusting your instinct. But yeah, it's like, no, that's all I have to say. I don't want to repeat myself.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Being yourself, that's all you can be. Don't try and pretend to be someone else, because it will come undone, and then that might not work for you. So I would say be yourself. And again, reiterating what Tahnee said about your branding, like having colors that you work with all the time, keeping a bit of a flow, especially like with Instagram, because it's something like when I look at other profiles, and this might sound really strange, but I like purchasing from ones that have like this consistent flow that look really nice, and it's appealing to, like, aesthetically appealing, because that's what Instagram was designed for. And there's lots of brands that use the same colors and the systems and stuff, but like what you said, Canva's a really good start, and then once you build up enough capital, you can rebrand or whatever, and really invest in some of those more expensive, I guess, branding like places and organizations. There's some really amazing Black businesses who are specialized in branding as well, that can help support you once you sort of get on your feet. What else? Oh, I was going to say something else and now I forgot.
That's so
No,
good.
but yeah, but be yourself. Be yourself is my number one thing, and don't be afraid. Like, don't be scared to be yourself as well, because, like with everything, everyone has their own favorite pair of shoes, but they're not going to always like the pair of shoes that you're wearing. They might like someone else's. So when I look at that, I think, I'll share other Aboriginal artists. So because my space is art, there's so many amazing Aboriginal artists. And if someone doesn't like my stuff, that's fine. But I want to give, the platform to other Black artists, so that, my followers can go to authentic Aboriginal artists who are, in their own business as well. So again, I refer back to the pair of shoes. Like, not everyone likes the same pair of shoes. So not everyone's going to like the Aboriginal art you're creating. They might like someone else's. And if you give them that, connection, it's really nice as well. And then you create a relationship with those artists. And it's not a competition. Like what you said, Tahnee, it's not a competition. We're working together to get rid of all of that, like all those non-Aboriginal people profiting off our culture, and we start to create our own community of Aboriginal businesses. And I think it's really strong.
Man, it's so good. It's so good to uplift each other and talk about these sorts of things, because then I don't know, it's good to just reframe how other Black businesses are approaching, this sort of stuff. So I was thinking just on what you guys are mentioning when it comes to Canva, and if you guys are new into thinking about what your brand should look like, Canva, I 100% agree. That's such a good resource for people, especially if you're beginning, because they've got really beautiful polished things on there and you can make something look awesome. Another little piece of advice too is probably jump online and have a look at brands that are similar to maybe your business, or at least things that you like, and look at their color schemes and think about how it makes you feel. And if you're like feeling super empowered, or, some fashion, I'll get online and I'm like, oh, I'd feel so just on top of the world if I'm wearing that. Think about how it's making you feel and see if you can put some of that, whether it's color or fonts, see how you might be able to apply that to your business. And I did have another point. What was it? I don't know. It's just listen to these guys. They're coming out with good advice. Oh, that's what it was. And this all of this advice and conversation doesn't just extend to creative businesses. I think you could really take all of this and apply it to whatever industry you're in. And the point about being yourself, I think, you shouldn't be afraid to be yourself, even if you've got a construction business or, something that might not be artistic. I think it's the way of the internet, especially. That it's just people like to see real people, and it should extend to just all different types of businesses. That was just my little piece.
Yeah, and I feel like from that, it builds trust as well. It builds trust with your followers. It builds trust with the people that are purchasing from you, and if they kind of know, a little bit about you or your backstory, and you don't even need to put your face up all the time, but just having some connection to who you are as well. Like sometimes I'll go on, like if you go on, I talk about Instagram a lot because I use it a lot. But if I go on Instagram and I can't find who, like even if it's like at the moment I'm getting a new dog and I'm going through dog Instagrams, if I can't find like anything about this person, how can I trust that this business exists? Like where's that trust in the, you know, that business? Do you know what I mean? Like I think that trust is really important.
Yeah, perfect. And yeah, see, that's why you shouldn't be afraid to be yourself, you guys. But yeah, I think that we've had the best conversation ever. I have had a great time. I hope you guys have had a great time. But yeah, I just wanted to throw to Naomi and just, you know, if you had any sort of closing words as we start to wrap up this deadly webinar.
Don't have any more questions to ask. I feel really inspired listening to Tahnee and Maddison and just being so open and sharing everything with us. I really appreciate that. So thank you, ladies.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Oh, so fun. I feel like I'm on a Teams video, not like we're doing a webinar for everybody.
Yeah. Don't know how many of you are watching.
Yeah, true.
We're just having a yarn right now.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah, we've got that deadly community watching on, loving little heart reacts, liking, commenting. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And look, just to cap the show off nicely, I agree with Liz. Brilliant advice from all. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Liz.
Well, excellent. Liz is just the best. I will do a whole webinar on how much I love Liz. Cool. So this brings us to the end of today's webinar, guys. I hope that everyone got something from it and really enjoyed it just as much as I did. And it seems that Naomi did as well. Again, I've got Tahnee and Maddie's links in the description of this video, so go and check out their websites. I'll probably jump on there and do some handles as well, because these guys love Instagram just like I do. So make sure you jump on there and check out their stuff, support Black business, support each other. And on that note, nominate for the Kinaway Business Awards. Nominate yourselves. You might want to nominate some people who I might not mention, but I'm going to just point right now. Beautiful. So thank you all for everyone watching. Thank you for joining us. And thank you guys for giving us your time today and your expertise. I just want to thank you all, and you, Naomi, too. Thanks for joining for my little webinars. Again, if you want to catch up on other webinars we've been doing this Indigenous Business Month or even before, you can jump onto our Facebook or our YouTube, and that is the best place to access all of that stuff. I will be starting to share these webinars on Instagram. I'm going to have to put my video editor hat on, and I'll get that all sorted so everyone can enjoy these conversations. But yeah, I've already let you know about the Kinaway Business Awards. Make sure you RSVP for that, because we're going to have a lovely production and it's going to be awesome. And that brings us to an end. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for joining us, and have a safe rest of the lockdown until we are able to walk free. Beautiful. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks,
bye.
Tahnee.